First, let me start this off by wishing all of you a happy year 2013. If 2012 was good for you, then I hope it continues that way. And if it was less good, then hopefully your fortunes turn around. As for me, usually when a new year starts, it's time for me to write a column on the year that just ended in Pokémon. In that column's format, I would take a look at Pokémon that performed well that year, as well as Pokémon that performed, well, less well. And I would crown a specific Pokémon for that year, Star of the Year, and another one, Turd of the Year, depending on whether they really impressed me or not. However, the constant growth in length of that column has gotten way out of hand. It took way too much time for me to write that, and that the amount of work I put into it, I decided was no longer worth it. However, I decided to come up with a replacement to that column. It's not something that you'll be able to read, but I still wanted to do something in its place. So instead of me just talking and talking and talking and talking for a raw text file that's like 100,000 characters, I would let you, the people, instead decide who's going to be the star of 2012 and who is going to be the turd of 2012. Now, this is the nomination phase, and the way it's going to work is that you're going to nominate Pokemon, and the top, well, I haven't decided on an amount of Pokemon. It might be 8, 10, 12. I guess it depends on how it all turns out. But the Pokemon that will have the most nominations will move on to the final round, which is going to be a simple poll where you choose one Pokemon as your star or turd of the year. But that's going to be in a little while. For now, let's focus on the nominations and the rules of that process. So it's very simple. In the comments below, I want you to nominate up to 5 Pokemon that impressed you this year for the title of Star of the Year, and up to 5 other Pokemon that disappointed you this year for the title of Turd of the Year. Now, one thing that I want to point out, let's stick to Pokemon only, okay? I know that in my columns I talked about other stuff. I had entries that were not Pokemon, and I know that as much as we all want to tear Smogon a new one, again, for getting rid of Sandvale, and as much as we all want to send flowers to Koei for somehow making a crossover between Pokemon and Nobunaga's ambition of all things work, we're going to keep it simple in order to not send the whole process into pandemonium. We're going to stick to Pokemon only. Now, one important rule that I would like to mention has to do with alternate forms. For the purposes of this competition, I guess I can call that, alternate forms that are going to count as their own thing are only the alternate forms that are not the result of an ability or a move in the Meloetta's case. So these Pokemon would be Deoxys, Wormadam, Rotom, Giratina, Shaymin, Tornadus, Thundurus, Landorus, and Kyurem. Now, as I said before, I'm not going to consider form changes that are induced by abilities, so Arceus, for example, is going to be one single entity. Now, another thing that's important about alternate forms that I would like to mention is that when it comes to deciding about, Pokemon that disappointed, and some of those Pokemon can have alternate forms, species clause exists, and as a result, a Pokemon might seem like it's having a very underwhelming performance, but only because it's got an alternate form that is also getting some use. It's especially the case for Landorus. Both of its forms are in a very low overused right now, and a lot of people don't understand why it's that low. Well, the answer is simply species clause. Both forms are used about equally, and they're like the Therian form for the month of December was number 43. The Incarnate form was number 45. But put them together, and in the end, they would end up at in or around number 13. Now, I'm not trying to sway your vote or anything, but it's just a little fact that I think you should be aware of, since many people, even on Smogon, don't quite seem to realize that the Landorus forms are in direct competition with each other, and you cannot have both on the same team no matter what you want to do. Not that it's a very good idea from the start, but still. So now that we've gone over the rules, there are two more things that I would like to cover in this video. First, I'm going to include in the movie description a link to Smogon's monthly stats for December 2011 and December 2012, in case you need some inspiration when it comes to nominating. And also, something very important is that I'm going to keep this video up at the front of the channel until the nomination period is over. This is important because if I upload any other videos in the meantime, they are not going to appear at the front of the channel. So I strongly suggest that if you're not subscribed to me, at least keep tabs on my video page. And even if you are subscribed to me, YouTube has a nasty habit of screwing things up with subscriptions, so try to check it out every now and then in case there's a new video and you aren't even aware of it. So that's going to be all for today. You can now start nominating. The nomination period will last around a week, and I will update you when it's done. So see you next time!